Hello and welcome to Stitches and Slapdashery. My name's Nicola. I still have my cold, but I thought I'd start filming the next vlog anyway because I've decided what to do with my DK yarn stash. In my, not vlog 12, in vlog 11, I think it was vlog 11, I was talking about this big pile of DK yarn that I had. And I didn't know what to do with it. And I've been trying to think of something to do with it for literally years. I have it all caked up. A lot of the cakes are combinations of colours that are similar. So I've got like 3 greens in one cake and 3 pinks in another. Because I had to get it all corralled because it was getting crazy. So I just happened to be on Ravelry this morning, as one is, multiple times a day. And I saw a thread where someone was saying, I'd really like some knitted leggings. I'm a really slow knitter. Do you think that's a silly idea? And people were saying, well, for this winter, maybe, might take a while. And then I thought, knitted leggings. I don't want knitted leggings, but I could have knitted trousers. Wait, no, crocheted granny square pants. Crochet granny square pants. I mean, I don't have any of those. So I pulled this granny square Coatigan, they call it in the pattern, out of my closet and took a look at it because it's really easy to build a garment out of squares. Super easy. And the blocks for this, I had forgotten actually. The blocks for this, see if I can show you, are not a traditional granny square. They start with circles and then you square it up on this round here, this round. And so, who wouldn't love a pair of granny square pants made out of this block? Brilliant. So it looks like that's going to be my finishing up 2023 project, is making a pair of granny square pants to go with my coat. Except it won't really go with my coat because this was made with Stylecraft Aran and some, can't remember what it was, black yarn back in 2016, which is a long time ago now. This new garment will be made out of, I'm guessing, 2 strands of DK, treated like a bulky with like a 6.5 mil hook. And I will just start making squares and figure out the sort of shaping around the butt area later on. I feel like I'm channeling Jenna Phipps in this one. She tends to sort of start some funky, crazy project with a plan, but not a pattern, if you know what I mean. So I have a plan and not a pattern. I'm going to pull my DK yarn down from where it is up there on the shelf, and I'm going to crochet a sample square and see how it looks. Before I do that, I'm going to just show you my coat, if I can back up as far as I can across the room, give you a better view of it. Ta-da! there was a considerable amount of faffing about at the beginning of that square. In the end, I settled on this crazy ball and this less crazy ball. I have a lot of green. I'm not a fan of green yarn, I have to say, so I'm going to try and use it up because I don't want it sitting around any longer. So I had a couple of false starts, but this is what I've ended up with. Obviously, it's a little lumpy right now. If you can see that. Oh, let's get up. I'll show you. It's the green, which I don't think the green changed all the way through, which is actually quite a good thing because it adds a cohesive look to it. But this one, it started out as a sort of burgundy and then it went through gold to this reddish colour. That's the fun thing about these cakes that I wound up all these years ago. You can't see all the colours in it, so some of them are going to be a bit of a surprise. I ended up doing 6 rounds of it. The pattern has a 7th round of plain single crochet. I think this is big enough, and what I can do is always add another round as I'm joining. I'll probably do a crochet join like I did with this. Pretty sure that's a crochet join there. And this square is 7.5 inches across, so now I can figure out how many I need to make for a pair of pants. The nice thing about using these cakes is that they're already joined with magic knots, and so there are no tails. So rather than change colour every round like I did with this and have a bazillion ends to weave in, with this one I've just got a couple of tails at the beginning and a couple of tails at the end. The holes in this are pretty big, but obviously one would wear leggings underneath these things. Acrylic pants would be pretty sweaty without leggings underneath, wouldn't they? Okay, I'm excited about this. I think this is a good plan. I'm going to do a little bit of paperwork now and figure out where this is going. This took a little bit of brain work and a messy page. However, if you look at the pants from the side of the hip, so this is sort of the way I would look at it from a sewing angle. I've made pajamas before where you have one piece which looks like this and second piece that look like this, and then you've got your inner leg seam over here, your waistband up here, and your crotch seam here. Of course, it's more of a curve in a sewing pattern, but I don't think that's an issue. It's yarn, it's more flexible. So if you can imagine that these are full squares and then these are half squares. I'm not going to make half squares. It's just that this and this are going to, when I join this leg into a tube, this is just going to be one square here. And seen from the front of the body, you'll see one row of squares running down the front of the leg. You'll see a half a strip on the inner leg and then a half a strip, which will wrap around. Obviously, the full strip will wrap around the hip to the back on the outside leg. And there'll be another row of strips at the back of the leg. So I reckon I can get this out of 36 squares. They're going to be pretty roomy because a 15-inch drop between the waistband and the crotch is going to be pretty low. But to get the right length I want, I only need 5 squares of length altogether, so it'll be 2 and 3. And I think that will work out. Obviously, I can lay it out as I'm making the squares and make sure that I haven't made any crazy mistakes with that, but I'm pretty pleased with that. Well, beautiful and sunny out there, and I'm feeling a little bit guilty at the fact that I'm stuck away in my sewing room. However, I have been having a little bit of fun. So the first square I made, it sort of looks like a cross between fall and Christmas. In that the green strand went all the way through, and then it had shades of gold and reds in it. Quite pleased with that one. These are going to be ugly granny square pants. I know that. You don't have to point that out to me. These are not going to be pretty, but they will be warm, and that's the important thing. The second one I made carried on with that green cake and used a pink cake. And that doesn't look too bad. Started out a lighter pink and changed to a different pink on the outer edges. Not bad. And then the third one, oh, okay, I know. This is Bath. Green and yellow always looks like Bath, doesn't it? However, I have to use this yarn up. I'm not going to throw it out, not going to give it away, I'm going to use it up. So that was the third one. And I just started a new one with this cake again. This cake is still going strong. Fourth square, and this one here. So it's going to be shades of green all the way through. And I have just got this far with the fourth square. So I don't see myself sitting down in this chair for the whole afternoon. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put my shoes on and go for a little trot. I know what's for dinner, and it's fairly quick. So I don't have to worry about making anything ahead for dinner. So I think a bit of exercise, a bit of fresh air and sunshine, and then back down here for some more crochet because I'm having fun with this. It's evening time now. I made myself a herbal tea. Dinner is made, but I am not having it yet because husband is at the gym, 2 kids are out of town working and won't be home till late, and the other kid is ensconced in his bedroom, probably on his computer. And so I've left a note for the kid who's at home to say none of us has eaten yet. So when he comes out of his room, he doesn't go and scoff a whole ton of it and not leave enough for the rest of us. While I was making coleslaw, I managed to cut myself. I nearly endangered my crochet technique there because I was taking the cutting and grating disc out of the top of the food processor after I'd cut up my cabbage and carrot and apple. And I got a little cut, and then I completely forgot about it. So I cleaned around the kitchen, came down here and picked up my crocheting and thought, why is my finger sticky? And I thought, oh, great, it's bleeding. So I put Band-Aid on it just to avoid getting blood on the yarn because, you know, that's not nice. My walk this afternoon was really nice. It was sunny, it was cold, it was about 1 degree Celsius. So I was bundled up in my coat and I had my fleece granny square print hat on and some thin gloves, which I didn't need to keep on. The gloves came off after a while. Ah, the gloves came off. That means something else, doesn't it? Anyway, that's usually how it happens. I usually end up overdressing and having to peel things off as I go. This tea has some aniseed or fennel flavour in it, or licorice flavour. That's the one thing I tend to never ever have, because it's not something I like. Well, I'll drink it anyway. It was called Soothing. I think it had ginger and something in it, and so it's probably good for the innards, so I'll carry on drinking it. It's like a lot of things, isn't it? Sometimes you don't have any. Sometimes if your motivation is a little low, you tell yourself, okay, I'll do this thing, but only for 5 minutes, or I'll do a short walk. All it has to be is go around the block if you don't feel like it, or I'll do a little bit of that or a little bit of that. And then you end up doing more because you got started. So with my walks, I got started on it and I decided to extend it longer so that I was out for more walking time, more air time, and more sun time. And it was good. I'm pleased that I did that. I did consider taking some crochet with me and actually working on one of my granny squares while I was walking. But I didn't. I thought this is supposed to be getting away from the crochet time, getting your head up and looking around you and not having your head down, causing more problems for your neck. I'm feeling a lot better today, a lot better. So I think, touch wood, that this is pretty much the end of the cold, and that by the weekend I'm going to be feeling fine. And so I rescheduled my chiropractic appointment for next week in the assumption I would be well. And I am going to go to my orthodontist appointment on Tuesday. They did call today to confirm, and I did say I'd had a cold and I would assess how I felt over the weekend. I think it's going to be okay, which is good because my mouth has been really sore today. The skin on the inside of my bottom lip there has been catching my braces, and it's been very uncomfortable. And I also made myself a hair appointment because, I need a haircut patently. The thing with the buzz cut is it's all grown out and it's all one length, except where I've sort of just trimmed it slightly over the ears and the back of the neck. And that's fine, except I would rather have it faded on the sides and the back. Obviously, the top is going to stay the length it is and carry on growing out. I don't know if you were around with me when I started vlogging back in June, but you'll see I usually have the top of my hair quite long and curly, and then the sides are shorter. So that's the plan, to go back to that. And because we have a holiday booked at the beginning of December, I want it to look a little more intentional than just a sort of grown out buzz cut, which is looking a little bit sticky outy in places. So square number 4 is on the go. I did weigh the squares I have already made, the 3 squares, and they weigh about 25 grams each, which is awesome because it means I am burning through the stash very nicely. And these granny square pants will probably weigh in the ballpark of 800 grams. Well, I do have about 3,000 grams of DK yarn here, so obviously I'm only going to be using about a third of it, but it's still a good chunk of it used up. I just set you up so that we can have an overhead view here. So this isn't an ideal setup because you can see the leg of my tripod here, but didn't want to move the ring light over to the other tripod, which is on my tutorial tripod. So what have I done since yesterday? I finished the 5 little itty bitty sweaters. So these are from a pattern called Ugly Christmas Sweater. Can't remember what the designer's name is, so I'll have to just put a link in the description box. So the first one I made, which I think is actually the closest to the original pattern, is this one. And it's, I think, correct size. What I did with the subsequent ones is, though I knew the pattern, so I basically just winged it. And so some of them turned out a bit small. I think I left a round off from the body on some of these other ones. This one looks like it has 2 different length sleeves. Anyway, this one is mine. So one son, another son, another son, and husband. So now we have 5 little ugly Christmas sweater tree decorations or gift tags or whatever. I may add extra embellishment to these. I'm not sure yet. The reason I say I may add extra embellishment is that I have started making more in red. I have this, I think it's a cotton linen blend yarn. I can't remember. Maybe Knit Picks Shine or something. Oh, probably cotton modal then. So I made this one today. I had a lovely bit of quality time at the tea shop with my crochet and my phone. Kate of the Last Homely House put out a 1.5 hour video of her making a Christmas notebook today. And it was very enjoyable to watch, and it was perfect tea drinking and crocheting time. So that's what I did. The young man at the tea shop's always very impressed when I churn out crochet. So this one definitely needs some sort of decoration. So when I was out and about today, I did a number of things. I went to Walmart and got myself some winter socks because I need long socks to go underneath my boots. And I didn't want to throw away the little hangers that came with the socks because I thought maybe they would make good Christmas ornament hangers. So I saved those. You don't want to see the socks, do you? They're not very exciting. And then what else did I get at Walmart? Oh, just some food. But on the way home, I stopped off at the dollar store and I bought these little tiny bells in red, green, and gold. And these, I think, would be awesome somehow embellishing itty bitty sweaters. I think that would be really fun. So that's what I bought those for. I also found a fun notebook full of, not really a notebook, it's a paper pad, and it has squares of Christmassy themed, oh, gnomes. I love gnomes. Well, it's kind of Santa and snowmen, but hey, Santa's just another gnome, isn't he? Another elf. So that one's nice. Oh, that one's nice. Oh, I like that one. Yeah. So I bought that. Not so crazy about that one. And of course, having watched Kate making this lovely Christmas notebook, I thought, oh, some of these would make lovely covers for handmade notebooks. So I couldn't resist that. And then I also bought this, which is a set of 12 stamps with a stamp pad. I haven't opened this yet. Oh, I was wondering what colour the stamp pad was going to be. It's actually got 4 colours on it. Red, green, silver and gold by the look of it. Oh, pleasantly surprised. So what have I got here? I have snowman and I have a Santa, a penguin with a Santa hat on, a gingerbread man, gingerbread person, snow person, reindeer, another kind of Santa. That looks like an owl. I think that's an owl. Little trees, snowflake, reindeer head, and another tree. So I get all those in that little container. I'll have to have a little play with those. So I can definitely see myself making some little Christmas notebooks or something like that. So the other place I wanted to go today, which was actually my initial, what's the word? Initial plan, initial store to visit, was Michael's. I only go to Michael's at the most every few months because I rarely need anything from there or want anything from there. I usually wander around their yarn department and don't buy anything anymore. I did see some quite nice yarn in Walmart, but I passed on by. Okay. My plan for Michael's was to get some more jewellery fixings, and I went a little nuts because there's 120 earring hooks in here, and there's 120 head pins, they call them. They are not silver, but they are nickel free. Oh, hang on a minute. Why does that say nickel free iron and nickel free brass, colour rhodium? They look the same colour. Okay. Weird. Anyway, there are 3 different lengths, I think, of head pins in here, and a whole bunch of the fishhook type ear wires, and I got 2 sizes of split rings, a 6mm and a 9mm. And what these are good for is for making stitch markers. These little tiny ones would be good for the smaller range of knitting needles, and these ones would work well for a medium range size of knitting needles. And for crochet, the little lobster clasps are the best for that, but I didn't buy any more of those. I think I still have some. And these are the beads I bought. So the first ones I was attracted to. It took me a while to look, to be honest, because I was looking for Christmas themed ones, and I was a little disappointed that there were barely any of them. So in the end, I went for something completely un-Christmassy. They're floral, they're square, and they're flat, quite flat. And I'm hoping that the holes in the middle of those are going to be big enough for me to put my head pins through. So then I also bought some which were more square. Again, kind of flowery, kind of spring colours, I know, but happy colours, aren't they? So those were fun. And then, just to coordinate with those, I got these. These pink ones are lovely. I love those bright pink ones. I think that's probably what drew me in. and then I got these smaller ones because quite often you want to have some different sizes of beads to put together, so they're not all the same. And so that's those. They were 60% off. Totally worth it, right? I do have quite a few beads in the stash already. That's, well, a small amount of beads. I don't have really what I would call a stash of beads. It's a very small collection. So these ones will be fun to play with. I'm thinking that if I want to add extra gifts for friends for Christmas, that I could make earrings out of these, some of them, because there's a lot there. Maybe give each friend a pair of earrings and some stitch markers, something like that. So that was the excitement for today. Ten squares made so far. This is 9 o'clock on day 2 of the Granny Square Pants project. Coming along nicely. 10 out of 36. This isn't going to take long at all. My hand got tired of the crochet, so I'm back upstairs on my couch, and I put the footage in the app for the last couple of days and noticed I was getting to 32 minutes. And I thought, that's long enough for a video. So I'm going to finish it up and pop it up on the interwebs, and hope you enjoy it. Just want to apologize for the stretch where I'm sitting with my teacup in front of my face yesterday. As somebody who used to have a hearing defect, I know how important it is to be able to see people's faces and mouths when you're listening to them. Because I know that when my hearing was going, back between the age of 40 and 50, when my hearing was going, I relied a lot on reading people's lips at the same time as I was hearing their voice, because sometimes I didn't hear them very well. And so I'm going to make an effort not to do that again, because even though I can now hear, watching myself talk without being able to see my mouth was kind of weird for me, and I'm concerned it might be weird or annoying for somebody else. So I promise not to do that again if I can possibly help it. So as a side note, the reason I don't have the hearing problem anymore is that I had a hereditary disorder that is called otosclerosis, and it makes all the little bones in your ears fuse together because there's a lot of calcification inside your ear. And I inherited it from my mum's side of the family because she had the exact same thing, or has the exact same thing. Luckily, surgery exists to fix it. I had 2 surgeries a couple of years apart, and they drill out the calcification and they replace the little stapes bone, the one that's shaped like a horseshoe, with a titanium prosthesis. So I am very, very grateful to my doctor for doing that surgery for me, because for a while I was wearing hearing aids, but there would have come a time when they wouldn't have worked. Probably I would have just been stone deaf if that surgery didn't exist. So I'm very, very grateful for it. So I just wanted to put that little addendum on the video and say once again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my blathering on. And I'll see you again next time with a Granny Square Pants update.